What's up? Happy Monday. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Hope all of you are recovered following that disastrous loss to the Chicago Bears. If you were at the game, hopefully you dried out. It wasn't Soldier Field. It was Soldier Pond. But now the focus shifts to week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks. And the focus for us, so much to get to on the show. Elijah Mitchell injury update that just came from Ian Rapoport. Not looking good on that front with the Dak Prescott injury to his throwing hand. Could Jimmy Garoppolo get traded to the Dallas Cowboys? 49ers week 1 overreactions. As part of that, I'm going to tell you why you should still have confidence in Trey Lance. First, though, appreciate all of the love for our first watch party of the 2022 season. Albeit a loss against Chicago, the show out was absolutely fantastic. 60,000 views yesterday. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And we want to welcome in our new subscribers here to the faithful family by Chat Sports. 500 new subscribers from our watch party yesterday. And I can assure you, I can guarantee you, we will give you the best, most entertaining, and informative 49ers news, rumors, and analysis. So if you haven't subscribed, do so right now. You also subscribe because we bring you 49ers injury news in depth and faster than anybody out there. And this just came down from Ian Rapoport NFL Network that Elijah Mitchell, who was quickly ruled out yesterday with that knee injury, is expected to miss some time, has an MRI scheduled for today that will determine the full extent, but Mitchell is looking at a few weeks or more on the sideline. And the early indication that I've been hearing, it could be about a month, maybe even a little bit more for Elijah Mitchell. Of course, when those details get ironed out, we'll of course let you know. And for Elijah Mitchell, he gets hurt yet again. And last year, he missed several games because of multiple nagging injuries. And I know that the biggest play that changed the game against the Bears yesterday was when Justin Fields broke contain, went left, jetted out to the side, then threw it across the field to Dante Pettis, of all people, for a 51-yard touchdown. But I did think that once Elijah Mitchell was out, the game also was altered to a certain degree because the 49ers' run offense wasn't all that good after he didn't come back into the football game. Jeff Wilson didn't really bring a lot to this offense. I actually thought the Niners' offensive line played pretty well. Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford specifically. But when Elijah Mitchell went out, it changed the way that the 49ers were able to move the ball. And then a little bit later, after there was that monsoon coming down, after a break in some of that heavy torrential downpour, 49ers couldn't run the football. And if they had Elijah Mitchell, maybe they would have had more success running the football because I thought he was really good when he was on the field. 6 carries, very decisive, explosive. The knack for Elijah Mitchell always finds a way to fall forward and pick up positive yards, even when it appears there aren't any yards to be picked up, and nearly 7 yards per carry, a fantastic number for Elijah Mitchell. And this is another injury on top of the fact that he missed 6 games back in 2021, and now you're looking at a running back room in which somebody has to step up. And for Elijah Mitchell, this is a big loss because last year, he was actually top 5 in the most rushing yards per game in an elite category with some really elite running backs. Can you believe that Elijah Mitchell was top 5 among all these guys? Derrick Henry with 117 rushing yards per game, followed by Jonathan Taylor, who I thought was an MVP candidate last year for the Colts, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, and then Elijah Mitchell there. 80 yards per game. Yeah, it's a far cry from 117 and a $106 that JT was putting up, but Elijah Mitchell in his rookie season, after being a 6th-round pick, was really, really impressive. And this is why throughout this offseason, when a lot of people had said, why did the 49ers draft a 3rd-round running back in Trey Sermon, who's not even with this team any longer, and then run it back with Ty Davis-Price? Well, one, running backs are really important to the success of this 49ers offense. It's the backbone of what Kyle Shanahan wants to accomplish with this outside zone scheme. But he's spent back-to-back 3rd-round picks on physical running backs because he knows that he's going to filter through a lot of these running backs throughout the course of a season, given the physicality level of the NFL. He also wants to find that physical bell cow who isn't injury-prone. And so far up to this point, Elijah Mitchell doesn't fall in that category. And moving forward for the Niners, I want to see more from Jordan Mason. It's time. We know what Jeff Wilson is. I think that he offers you a nice little element in the pass game. Jordan Mason, though, impressed me in so many ways throughout the preseason. Physicality, burst, decisiveness, running through tacklers, breaking tackles, picking up yards after contact, always falling forward. Kyle Shanahan, you got to play Jordan Mason, one of the young bucks in week 2 against Seattle. I also want to see Danny Gray because of his speed element, which could help out Trey Lance. So what do you think? Who should start week 2 in this backfield alongside Trey Lance at RB1? JW for Jeff Wilson, TDP for Ty Davis-Price, JM for Jordan Mason. Let me know right now in the comment section. We now shift gears to Jimmy Garoppolo. This, a pretty big rumor out there in the NFL stratosphere that Jimmy Garoppolo could potentially be traded to the Dallas Cowboys after this injury to Dak Prescott. And the 49ers, you would imagine, or at least think, that they could get some decent draft compensation, maybe even player compensation back if the Cowboys do grow desperate. Here's the latest on Dak and that injury last night, Sunday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let me start by saying the Cowboys looked awful. With Dak Prescott on the field, they still committed several penalties, and they only mustered 3 points against the Bucs. But this injury, not good for this football team that's already limited in a couple of ways. According to Todd Archer, expected to have surgery on that right thumb, miss 6 to 8 weeks. The hope, according to reports, is that he returns late October, sometime in November. More from Archer. He'll likely be placed on injured reserve, eligible to return later this year if he follows that 6 to 8 week time frame. And there you go, late October or even early November for Dak Prescott. And I do want to tell you this, like Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup quarterback from a football perspective is actually really important for this football team, and you need to give Trey Lance some time because he has some ability, and coming up around the corner, I'll explain the ability and some of the potential and some of the flash plays that I saw yesterday against the Bears. But if Trey Lance were to go down, Brock Purdy is the next quarterback up if you don't make any other external acquisitions, and Jimmy Garoppolo does get traded to the Dallas Cowboys. So while it's appealing to trade Jimmy G to Dallas, you're helping out another team you could be competing against for a spot in the NFC playoffs, but also just for the overall success of this team. Lance struggles, Lance gets hurt, you're going to Brock Purdy with a Super Bowl ready roster. That has like 2020 vibes all over again. Now, I voiced my opinions on this. I probably would not trade Jimmy G to the Dallas Cowboys unless they blow me away with an offer for a guy who's already in the final year of his contract, so you can get back something for Jimmy G instead of nothing if you were to leave in free agency. Would you trade Jimmy G to Dallas? I mean, type F Dallas in the chat. So still pumped up about that Niners win over them in the playoffs. T for trade, K for keep. Let me know down in the comment section. Really excited to really dissect some week 1 overreactions for the Niners. That's coming up next on the show. First, though, something fishy and interesting with these betting lines in week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks. And look, I don't think you can make too much of the Niners' loss against Chicago. It got ugly late, and they couldn't come back late because that weather was so porous. But odds makers love the Niners in this game. Even with the loss, yes, we haven't seen Seattle yet in week 1. They play the Broncos on Monday Night Football. 9-point favorites, though. Over under 42.5. If the weather is okay, I think the Niners are going to be just fine in this game to come out with the dub. If you want to bet on this game and get that early action down, BetUS is the spot to do it. Our presenting sponsor and our sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports. All you got to do, head to chatsports.com/49bet, enter the promo code Niners125 for that 125% deposit bonus. So now we shift gears to our week 1 overreactions. The biggest overreaction following the Niners' loss against the Bears, Trey Lance is a bust. Trey Lance can't play. Justin Fields thoroughly outplayed him, and the Niners made a mistake in taking Justin Fields over Trey Lance. I'm actually going to deem this an overreaction. I like what I saw from Trey Lance in this game, moments of it. Now, of course, Justin Fields came through with some of the bigger plays, but I thought that came down to the experience level of Fields against the inexperience level of Trey Lance. Only started 2 games. Last year, Justin Fields started half the season. Then going back to Ohio State, has a lot more experience. It's really impossible, though, when you evaluate Lance. I went back and looked at the All-22 to gauge how well or how poorly he played, considering the weather was a disaster. The fuel conditions were terrible. And when he could throw, though, I thought that Trey Lance really flashed. Now, you take a look at the numbers. Sub 50% with this completion percentage at 13 of 28. That's not great, but again, hard to grip the football yesterday. 164 yards. The lone pick wasn't a good throw for, actually, I thought it was a good throw from Trey Lance. He would have hit Juwan Jennings. It was a great play from Eddie Jackson, who kind of baited Trey Lance. It looked as though Eddie was going to go back to that safety spot. Then he faked Lance out and pursued and really made a good play on the ball. And then what you saw from Lance was his ability to pick up yards with his feet. And that's just something that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't bring to the table. What else Jimmy G doesn't have that Trey Lance does? It's the long ball, deep ball accuracy and the ability to pick up some of those explosive plays downfield. And now when we look at my Trey Lance takeaways, that's what Lance was able to bring this 49ers offense. And it's his arm talent. It's his ability combined with the fact that Kyle Shanahan can scheme guys open in this offense. That's why I think San Francisco is going to be a really good team this year, and Lance is going to become a good player. Just got to give him some time. The throw to Ray McCloud was a dime. He fit it in between three Bears defenders and lofted it over a defender with perfect touch on a throw that's pretty difficult to make that requires elite arm strength. The throw down that left sideline to Juwan Jennings for another big play, it required pinpoint accuracy. And these are the types of things that you want to see from Trey. The run on 3rd and 13 was a play that Jimmy Garoppolo would never be able to make. Lance shaking a defender out of his shoes, and on a couple of those runs, I just saw raw athletic ability that makes this offense a little bit less predictable and more explosive. And then the bad, of course, the interception where he got baited by Eddie Jackson. He missed Tyler Kroft on a play where he had to twirl around Tyler Kroft. If you put it right on him, it probably would have gone for a touchdown. That right there is a throw that Trey Lance wants back. But with more experience, does he complete some of those throws? Maybe. Don't overreact on Trey Lance. It's one game. And nobody could throw in those elements, whether it's Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Remember Josh Allen against the Patriots last year when there was wind all over the place? He could barely throw the football either. So what is your level of confidence in Lance moving forward? I want you to scale it for me from 1 to 100. 1, none, 100, a lot. Another overreaction that I want to get to with this loss against the Bears, which I think are a bottom 5 roster in this in the NFL. A lot of people are saying, Niners not going to be a good football team. They're cooked. This is really frustrating. Niners are going to be a good team. They dominated the line of scrimmage defensively and offensively. They had moments to win this game. Don't give up that long ball to Dante Pettis on a coverage breakdown where Justin Fields was able to, get out of the contain for San Francisco. You can't, though, commit 12 penalties for 99 yards against a bad team. That just opens yourselves up and opens up the door for a disaster and an upset. Stupid penalties as well, like late hits on Justin Fields from guys like Dre Greenlaw. Like, you're a veteran, homie. You can't be committing those types of penalties. That's how you stack up L's during a season. Losing that contain on Justin Fields, not just on that Dante Pettis touchdown, but a couple of other situations in which that happened. And then 12 penalties for 99 yards. The 49ers were not disciplined. I think the lack of a dress rehearsal certainly hurt them from the preseason, but also Deebo Samuel, you signed that big deal. Niners were moving the ball well when the weather was actually ideal, but then Deebo Samuel coughs it up in the red zone. And then I thought the other possession coming out of halftime, you settle for 3, you don't get 7. Got to find a way to capitalize, and with more reps, it's my hope and expectation that the Niners will be able to do that. And we continue to also see a trend of the Niners starting season slow under head coach Kyle Shanahan. Take a look at the year-by-year record, the first 4 games, a.k.a. the first month of the season. This is a combination of games in September and October, of course, depending on how the schedule plays out. First year for Shanny, 0-for. 2018, 1-3. Super Bowl year, 4-0. 2020, 2-2, when they were somewhat healthy. 2021 last year, they were 2-2. And then 2022, they start off 0-1. So that is a total record in the first 4 games combined during Kyle Shanahan's regime of 9-12. What have the Niners done when they've been a successful football team, though? They finish strong. What do good and elite teams do that bodes well for making a deep run in the playoffs? Finish strong. The Niners also have this identity of playing a physical, brute force and style of football that works better late in the year as compared to early in the year. So don't overreact. I think the Niners are going to be just okay, even with Trey Lance at quarterback. What do you think, though? Can the Niners still win the NFC West? If the Seahawks go down, there is a tie for first place in the NFC West of all teams at 0-1. Cardinals look terrible. Rams didn't look good. Niners looked okay in moments. We'll see how the Seahawks look, but I expect that team to be one of the worst in the NFL. Get those votes in. V for victory! Shout out to Johnny Jama. Entourage fans know what's good. L for lose. As always, appreciate all of you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.